Hey everyone, and welcome to the Nordic Sound. As always, I am your host, Jameson Foster, ethnomusicologist at the University of Colorado Boulder, and today we are joined once again by one of the original Nordic Sound guests, Runahild, who is here to chat with me about her upcoming album and book, Seid. I'm fairly sure that we will make little detours along the way. But first, before we get into all of that, Runahild, how are you doing? It is great to have you back on the Nordic Sound again.
Yeah, it's absolutely great to be back. Thank you again for having a chat with you. And otherwise, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Yes.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, I saw you were doing not only an album but a book, and so I'm like, well,
Yeah.
now we have even more to talk about than normal, which is really exciting because as you know, books and music are different ways to communicate ideas, and so
Mm, yeah.
I'm actually always quite a fan of when
Mm,
musicians write alongside the albums as
mm,
well. Like a lot of cool
yeah.
stuff can happen there.
Nice.
Yeah, but before that, just how was your summer? How did your summer treat you? You have any fun travel or festival stories, or was it pretty normal around there?
It's been a very busy, it's been a crazy summer actually. So,
Yeah.
oh wow. It's been well, very intense,
Hmm.
crazy, but in a great way.
Yep.
So
Good.
a lot is changing in life, but
Hmm.
again, in a great way in the end. So that's very nice. And played at, I don't want to make a mistake, but I think I only played at two festivals this year.
Hmm.
So Forest Star and Midgardbloods, as every
Hmm.
year. And yeah, that's Midgardbloods, if you go straight to this one, I mean, since you've been there too,
Yeah, of course.
it's always very special. But every year is special in its own way. And I feel this year, I don't know, it feels like it always gets better. Or I don't know
Hmm.
if it's fair to say that, but because it's always amazing. But yeah, I don't know. It was really special. I feel this year. Really had a great time, and yeah, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
feeling.
because like are by far one of the. I mean, the line to get into the Guildhall for your show was massive. I mean, it was
Like,
so even with the media pass, the press pass, I could not fit in there. Like they were like, "Go ahead,
no
you can
way.
try if you want." And I was like, "I am
Shit.
not fitting in that building. It's just not going to happen." So
Wow.
I just I've seen you plenty, and I could kind of listen from the outside, but
Mm,
it just makes me so happy to see that many people
mm,
are willing to spend valuable festival time standing
mm.
in line
Right.
just to make
I'm
sure they
amazed.
can see you.
I'm
Yeah.
amazed. And I can see the line. So I'm like, it's nice to hear from the outside perspective, like, oh, okay.
It
Like,
just wouldn't end. That line would not end. Like
oh,
I
wow.
followed it all the
It's
way. I was like, you know
crazy.
what? I'm good. I'm gonna get some lunch or whatever meal it was at that time. But no, and everyone loved it. You're just always a great attraction. You were also
Mm,
you're not only that, but your set that you did with Astral Side,
mm.
that I got to see that. That was amazing,
Oh,
and I
nice.
know you were part of
Yeah.
Johnny Hex's set and all that. It was just
Mm.
like, yeah, you keep yourself busy at that festival.
Oh, but actually, I really love it.
Awesome.
I love it. That's the way I want to have it, really. I mean, like, not too busy, but that's why I'm there, really. So
Hmm.
it's just,
Yeah,
yeah.
I will say it was pretty funny for me when I ran into you guys and you were like, yeah. We're gonna go take a nap in the hotel or wherever you guys were staying. You're just like, we've had enough. We really need to regroup and just maybe get some sleep
Yes,
for our. So
definitely.
yeah, relate to
For the
that.
little weekend sleep, yeah, we try, but it's always, I know you can't. It's just so intense and so much happening and so much to process, and you want to get time for everything. But of course,
Hmm.
obviously, every year there are people you don't get to meet or don't get to say hi to, and you're like, ah, no, we miss those people.
Hmm.
Even though it's like not such a big festival, right? You should think, yeah, yeah, but it goes so fast by, and it's like, wow, it's already over, and of course we're not on stage, so we kind of, yeah,
Yeah, I
it
know the
goes quick.
feeling. I know the feeling.
Yeah.
There's always like several people at least by the end of it where I'm like, wait a
Mm,
minute, I never saw them. There were a few
exactly.
people. Yeah, it happens, and then you're just like, well, next year, and then you can
Yeah,
miss a
exactly.
whole new
Yeah,
batch of people.
exactly. Just like that.
Yeah, and then I'm sure just before we get into talking about the music and all that, I know a lot of people love following your farm stuff that you do. I was
Yeah.
just wondering if you just had any fun stories lately from maybe any of the stuff the animals get up to or anything like that? I know people would love to hear about what's going on Runahild's farm.
The animals are fine. Don't worry about that.
Oh, I just don't know if they get into any shenanigans or
They are
anything like
fine and
that.
wild,
Yeah,
and they roam around in the woods. Still, it's very good.
awesome. Yeah,
No,
because
it's
yep.
yeah, we are, but a lot. That's basically a lot of what is in the changing or transformation process, because we really want to eventually open the space for workshop, like drum singing workshop, or any also spiritual on some level, runes, maybe tattoo and markings, because you have some friends who do markings, so we kind of like expand with them. So it's been mostly what I've been focusing on, and like the side of the farm that I've been focusing on, trying to kind of cooperate, find people to work with, and get this project going, because there's like this huge potential for, I mean, the nature and the quietness and the darkness in the night. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually really dark here, and I realize that it's kind of a luxury to be able to live here, and the part of
Mm-hmm.
me really want to be able to share that. Um, and so, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna take a lot of work, right? Find the right people,
Of
and
course.
and of course, in the same time, it's also the farm and growing vegetables, and it's a part of everything that we kind of offer food that's organic,
Mm-hmm.
and meat is from the sheep around here. They have a happy life. I mean, they only eat like uh, good food in the nature. They don't get all this yeah. I don't know what you call it in English, but anyway.
Slop.
Yeah, it's like not what they should eat. I mean, they actually
Yeah.
should eat grass, and that's what they eat here. So
Hmm.
anyway,
Excellent. Yeah, I'm glad I
so
asked
yeah,
about that. Yeah, because I something about my intuition just said to ask
good.
Runahild
That's
about the
cool.
farm. I
That's
mean,
really cool.
this doesn't come up often, but not only I used to work on a farm when I was in New
Mm,
Hampshire, and then I was a butcher for several years
mm,
at a in English, it's called a food co-op. It just
mm.
the
Oh
best way
yeah,
to yeah, it's just a hippie food
mm,
store, like an all natural
yeah,
and so I do
nice.
actually have quite a bit of passion for like farm work and that sort of thing.
Right,
That's why I'm at
nice.
least personally interested. But it sounds like you guys are
Okay,
setting
welcome
up
to
some
join.
sort. Yeah, it sounds like you
That's
guys are setting up some sort of astral side retreat, huh? I think that's a great
yeah,
idea. Yeah.
yeah. That's been quite an idea for quite a while actually, and to yeah, it's been a really many years I did in my head that I really want to open the space, and also have like intimate sessions, singing and working with emotions, having a space to a safe space, right? Try to create a
Hmm.
safe space for some sort of healing,
Hmm.
like yeah. So, and then I think it's coming together, and people kind of yeah, it's quite interesting, because like yeah, there are really interesting dynamics happening, like very very special moments.
Yeah, beautiful. Because I know
Yeah.
that sort of stuff is people really want that kind of
Mm,
space.
mm,
And then also what you say about even just being able to find darkness. Sometimes I take
mm,
it for granted
yeah.
living in Colorado that, even though
Mm,
I'm right outside of Denver, I can just go 30 minutes up into the mountains, drive,
mm,
and, you can see the Milky Way, which not a lot of people.
right.
It's really weird to think that
No,
only 100 years ago, that's what everyone saw when they looked up at night. And
exactly.
now so few people get to experience like actual darkness.
Yeah, I know.
Does
It's
a
actually
lot.
quite crazy to think. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, like when you look up at an actual like as
Yeah.
as dark a sky as you can find, it kind of makes sense.
Mm,
Like this
mm.
this is kind of why humans started to make stories about what was happening up there
Of
because
course,
it's yeah.
yeah. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, it's yeah.
So just one last thing about the farm. Do you have a particular? This is such a dumb question, but I have to ask it.
Okay.
Do you have a particular vegetable or fruit that you're proud of? At least I know around here, every farm like has that vegetable that they're like, we have the best, and I will fight anyone who thinks that theirs is better
Oh
than
my
mine.
God. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go. Okay, a vegetable would be celery, and
Okay.
fruit would be apple and strawberries. Like
Mm.
I can't pick one of them. They're both amazing.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, that's the first time I've ever heard anyone talk about how they were proud of their celery. Normally, celery gets overlooked. You know what I mean? It gets a
It's an
bad.
amazing. It's super good.
I know. I mean, like, try
It's
making a soup
amazing.
without it. It's just not gonna happen. It's
Oh no, it's really good. In soups, fried in the oven. And it has so many ways of eating it. Actually, people don't know how to eat it. It's
yeah. No, I'm. I'm glad you're giving celery. I'm glad you're giving celery its due. Thank you for humoring me on that dumb question. I just had to ask. And then
That's funny.
you
That's
might
nice.
you might even appreciate this. So it's apple season here too. Just like it is for you
Mm,
guys. And we had more apples than we could eat. So
mm.
Alyssa did a little science experiment. She made a sourdough starter out of fermented
Mm.
apples. She took the
Oh,
apples that we had that were kind of soft, and
yeah.
she fermented them and then made bread out of it, like a sourdough bread. And
That sounds
it's
okay. And does it
witchcraft.
taste like
It has a slight apple taste, but it just tastes like
wow?
really good bread. And so
That
that's
must be
why
amazing.
in a very loving way, I call her. She is a food witch because she'll
Oh,
just
sure.
turn apples
Totally.
into bread. Who does that?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
that's amazing. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, if you guys want to try it, I'm sure I can have her write out what she did. Maybe because
Yes.
I'm sure you guys will also hit a point where you have too many apples. But
Yeah, it happens not this year, unfortunately, but some years, yeah.
awesome. Okay, well, I think that wraps up this segment of the Nordic Agriculture podcast, and I think, or the Nordic Organic Living podcast, and I think we can talk about the album and the book now. So the last album you did, From Darkness and Light, that was last year. Yes, that was
Yes.
last year.
April.
You
Yeah.
yeah you kind of you took a lot of people by surprise by incorporating some more electronica into
Mm.
that album, and
Yep.
I loved it. You saw back when
Mm.
I had the time to do album reviews. You know that I loved that
Mm.
record, just the way that you still sounded like Runahild while clearly
Mm.
incorporating this style of music that was starting to mean a lot to you. I remember you
Mm.
told me that you weren't always an electronica person, but then over time
Mm.
Gustav kind of converted you, and you had a lot
Oh,
of
it
really
was
great.
before I met him.
Oh,
It was
it was
before I
before.
met
Oh,
him.
I'm sorry, I'm
But I mean, it was
misremembering.
like
Yeah.
right before I met him, and I met him, and it was like, let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that synchronicity that you talk about in your
Yeah,
book quite a bit.
totally.
That's the kind of stuff. And so,
Mm.
you know, going from darkness and light into Seid, I'm just curious, like, what did you learn, or what kind of lessons did you take from that album, and how you were incorporating this new sound? Because especially like when you think about styles of music, people, there is this spectrum between like acoustic
Mm.
music and
Mm.
electronic music, and a lot of
Mm.
people feel very strongly about being on one side of the spectrum or the other. And so
Mm.
when you mix the two, like, so when an artist that typically does folk is suddenly doing electronic, that
Mm.
can ruffle some feathers, so to speak.
Mhm.
So I would just love to hear, looking back on that album, what was it like for you, not only in terms of hearing how people received it. I know you have a lot of thoughts about critics because you write about that in your book. But I was
Mm.
just curious, anything you have to say about what it was like incorporating electronica into your sound, and sort of what kinds of things you wanted to bring forward into writing your latest album.
So like from the last to the new one
Yep.
now, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I'm really glad that the previous one was like that. I really just got to be in that electronic sphere. But I think that a part of me kind of like okay, now I want to merge that a bit more back with the acoustic, and I feel like okay, I miss a bit of the acoustic sound and the kind of energies they bring. I feel that I absolutely love electronic music, but there is one thing that maybe I can miss from organic instrument, and it's the warmth. They have just a different energy,
Hmm.
and it's been more the plan all along to actually mix both of them. So I think I first like started to go a little bit more electronic, and I'm like, okay, just full electronic, or well, there was very, very few organic instrument on the
Hmm.
last album. And it was like, okay, so I guess I had to first go all the way out of the scale, all the way electronic. And now I can, oh, okay, yeah, now I can merge both worlds
Hmm.
together. And um, so yeah, I think
Yeah, one of
that's
my
my reflection.
no, that was great. Because I've talked about this with a few artists lately. I feel like this has become an increasingly common conversation to have.
Mm.
Uh, is just that when artists try a new sound or try and branch out a little bit, there's
Mm.
always that immediate reflex from people who are fans of you. Think like, oh, I hate this new thing that, or oh,
Mm.
this isn't how you used to sound, or or all
Mm.
this. But then to me, and I find quite often for artists, it's like, well, my old sound is still on those albums that you can still go listen to.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
need to try something new. And I feel like a lot of
Mm.
people really don't appreciate how important it is for artists to be able to go out and try something new, because
Mm.
at least what I heard listening to the tracks you sent me is that what I'm
Mm.
now hearing is that you have gone out, tried these new sounds, explored a little bit, and now you've kind of come back home, and now they're both sides are coming together in a
Mm.
way that
Yeah.
I find has just enriched your overall creativity. To me, I
Mm.
mean, I was listening to the tracks that you sent me, and I was really digging it, and but
Oh,
that
nice.
sound couldn't happen if you weren't allowed to sort of
Yeah.
maybe go and play with
Mm.
some electronics a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
that's
exactly that.
mhm.
I feel
So
this way.
yeah, awesome. Yeah, yeah. So how did you? I mean, like, what were some challenges? I guess with incorporating, you know, these two seemingly distant worlds from each other, and you know the that old folk sound that so many, especially the Midgårdsblot crowd, loves,
Mm.
with the electronic stuff. You know what? Just yeah, talk a little bit more about how you wove those together.
Yeah, I guess the main challenge would be that electronic music is very easy to make it very precise and very like on the beat and everything.
Hmm.
And organic is yeah, is organic. It's not
Yep.
I mean I don't play that well that I am that much on a beat, right? So so but in the same time that's where there's a challenge is also where there's a gift that it brings in a bit more life energy into that's also a part of like what can for me becomes like yeah if it is only everything perfect it becomes like a bit oh yeah you want to have a bit of life in between things a bit of yeah
Hmm.
movement and I feel like this is what the organic sound brings in and the warmth and and trying to refocus my thoughts now.
It's all good. Take your time.
um but the challenge that I really had with, if we should talk about the challenge of this album or the challenge like just of like merging electronic and folk or
Anything, you know, and
any
any
challenge.
yeah, really.
Because I think this one was definitely one absolutely the most challenging album I've been working on, which is
Hmm.
also it took like 1.5 years, and usually it just take me 1 year. So
Yeah, you're usually you're
slightly
churning
longer.
them out. You're just churning them out every year. I think I even mentioned I was like, I can't keep up. I can't keep up with all the albums this woman's making. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I you know
Mm.
a year hit, and I was like, I hope Runahild's okay.
Yeah, like yes, like what's going on? What's going on? It's springtime. There's no new album. What the fuck? Yeah, but that's been the. I mean, there was so many times that I felt like I wasn't not gonna make it, and I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
maybe in worst case it's an EP or just a few singles, or because I went into songs, I'm like, oh, and also what was very challenging is that now it's a 10th album, so I'm making something. I want to make something a bit special and take back
Hmm.
some of some of my old songs that I mean something a bit stronger to me, like or something I really want to work with again,
Hmm.
and. But I didn't want to just make a remix and just add a few electronic sound on it. I wanted to really give them a new life.
Hmm.
And that was very challenging. Yeah, because it's like in the beginning, I tried to just make the same recording. And I'm like, this is so uninteresting. It's like, I don't see the point of I was like, no, it's just, what? Why?
You're being honest
Because
with yourself. Yeah.
yeah, it's like this is just no. There's no point doing this. I mean, it doesn't interest me. It doesn't engage me either. It doesn't inspire me. It's because the songs, the way they were made, it was the energy that manifested or kind of got channeled that at that point, and it has already been given. So it's like, okay, what? So I had to kind of like take back the songs, the energies, and then re-anchor them in the present. Okay, what do they mean to me today, and how do they reflect with me today? And then see, okay, what can I weave with that? I have to do something completely. I would like to do something completely else, and when that's kind of when I get the key, and usually I just have to. Yeah, it's been quite a while,
Hmm.
quite and very difficult, and on my. But in the end, it's like when finally I get the key, and like, oh, here, yeah, if I just like, if but if I had to constantly stop thinking what was done and get out from
Hmm.
get out from that box and like get out of the idea that it should be so many parts or like it was, or get out of the idea it should be that long, or just scrap this. And yeah, that was quite challenging because I had to keep like, okay, do something completely else. And some songs have been transformed so many times during the
Hmm.
process, so many times. And like even like Seid, I released a version in the autumn. It's not at all the one on the album because I was like, no, actually, you know what? I have to make something else. I have to make something else again. I should not. I was maybe a bit too quick. I think it's okay, but it's just like, okay, there will be a single version. It's out there now. But the album version is completely different.
Hmm.
And it kind of like took me like, I was like, oh, I miss the mouse harp. Oh no, I really miss mouse harp. I don't have mouse harp on it. And then I put myself, oh, it's not the right tone. And I, okay, but you can pitch it. Gustav said, I can pitch, I can pitch it. But I had like I had such a process with this song. It was just crazy. If you can just ask Gustav one day, I think he should have been here and telling you the amount of version he got to work
It's a
with
labor of
because
love.
he's the one mixing and mastering my sis like, oh,
Mhm.
that's sorry, I have a new version again. Like,
Yeah,
okay.
I love that you brought up how important it is for you to feel inspired by your own music. You're right, because
Mm,
that's definitely related to how this conversation started with talking about
mm,
um how it's important for musicians to be allowed to experiment or go try something new. Because like,
mm,
I don't know about you, I can tell when I'm listening to a musician who's bored with what they're
mm,
doing. Like, I can
mm.
list a few bands or musicians. I'm not going to because that would be petty. But like, I
No.
can really tell, right? And so for me, that's why I really love
Mm,
when musicians are realizing, like you're doing right
mm,
now, is realizing how important it is to keep yourself
mm,
inspired and in love with your own music,
mm.
because
Yeah.
things can get pretty tragic if a musician is just like, well, it doesn't interest me, but it'll probably interest someone else, so I'll just do it. It's like
Oh, yeah,
that's yeah.
that's, yeah, I can't sing this way. I just can't. That's weird to me. It's like, what?
Yep.
No, then I don't make music.
Yeah, like why am I making it? It's
But
like
it's,
a novelist who doesn't like writing, you know
no,
what I
I
mean?
honestly, I really can't. There's something in me I just can't. Sometimes I do, I mean, and there are many songs I tried and I'm like, I have Örne dance, I'm like, and I couldn't get with it. I just
Hmm.
couldn't. So I'm like, okay, I could make like that and that would be a good sound, but no, no, that
Hmm.
it's not it. So I just can't. Impossible.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you, and that's just moral of the story. That's at least to me why it's important that musicians are feel
Mm,
comfortable and confident to
yeah.
not feel the need to stick with doing the same thing over and
Mm,
over and over again,
definitely.
because then it just
Mm,
sounds like you're doing the same thing over and over. That's what it feels like
yeah.
listening to, also. But
Mm,
yeah, no, that's great. Just a little bit more on the actual songwriting side. I know that a lot of I'm friends with some people who've been fans of you since like the beginning, and so they outrank me
mm,
in terms of how big of a fan they are, right? But in terms of what brought people to your music early on,
mm,
is this connection, and we talked about this a little bit. I promise we won't go all the way back talking about farming again, but this connection between your music and the actual place where you are.
mm,
Um,
mm,
so, considering that's been a part of your music since the beginning, essentially, how
mm.
do you see that your relationship between the music and land has or hasn't changed over time, especially now that you're incorporating electronic stuff? Like, how do you feel
Mm.
like the space is still your land is still a part of the music that you're making, even if your sound has changed?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Hmm.
it, there is no other way around. It's not possible. It's just, and I think that, yeah, I guess that's a bit, yeah, I kind of see that. Okay, I'm living this super off grid lifestyle, and then I make electronic music. I'm like, or I incorporate electronic elements. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think this way. For me, it's like sound. It's magical. It's like it doesn't matter how we are creating it. It's just. I mean, like what talks, what kind of what comes through, what yeah, what inspires me, and yeah, I mean, to me, it doesn't separate. Or I mean, it still is a part of like I can go in nature and I listen to new songs and well, I definitely like it doesn't be all right. It's like off. No, it's not. It's just like I feel like it still takes me deep into the atmosphere. Like if I don't know, like I like to go and walk in at dusk, especially. I absolutely love going at dusk when there is moon
Hmm.
and the moonlight, and I go and I just like you have this liminal space, and I'm listening. It's not often because I actually like to just be in silence, but when sometimes I will put my music on and just kind of like try to see, okay, how does it feel? And it kind of
Hmm.
like takes me even somehow even deeper. So, and I think that's this connection that the way nature inspires me and the way nature draws me in and the way I take this into music and then that's how yeah, it's that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So you don't at all see because talking about that acoustic electronic spectrum that
Mm,
people usually pick their place and plant their flag in the ground. You don't
mm,
see a contradiction at all between making nature-based music, or at least music that is inspired by the wilderness around you, and
mm.
incorporating electronic music.
No, no, it's I don't even think about it. Honestly, it's not. You never know what I'm gonna do next, you know?
Yeah, excellent, beautiful. The only reason I ask is because this is how I see people talk about music in comment sections
Mm,
and forums and all of that.
yeah, of
Is
course.
there's always that friction between acoustic and electronic music, and I
Mm,
just love how you just
yeah,
fearlessly bridge the two. I think it's healthy. I think it's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
It brings
Nice.
about new things. You can only do so much with a harp, right?
Mm,
Like you can only do so
yeah,
much with just a harp before you're like,
yeah,
all right,
that's
it's
for
been
sure.
6 albums of harp.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's like, yeah, I need something else now. I need something else.
Hmm. Yeah, it just expands your palette, and I
Mm,
definitely towards the end, I am going to I do want to have a little talk with you about this never-ending project of sorry
mm,
this never-ending project of freeing your artistic voice because that is a
mm,
part of a big conversation for people who try and get it into
mm,
music. But
mm.
we'll save that for the end. I wanted to get all of this more methodical talking about the actual making of the music beforehand because I have a feeling we're not going to want to interrupt talking about the actual like philosophy or idea or the story
Mm,
behind Seid. I would hate
mm.
to interrupt that with, yeah, and how did you tune that instrument? I just feel like that might that might kill the vibe a little bit. So so you have this book. So the album coming up is Side, right? And we can talk about both the album and the book together. I
Mm,
don't feel like there's any need to separate the two
mm,
into separate conversations. But the story behind Side, um, going into it, tell us a little bit about what this word means to you, and also just how you talk a lot about how you're not a historian, and don't worry, as
mm.
someone who even teaches this, I'm not here to quiz you or anything like that. That's not how I do this. That would be dreadful. I more just want to hear about how you feel about like what this term means to you and
Mm.
the relationship you see between it and your music and music more broadly. Yes, wherever you want to
Mm.
start with Side.
Yeah, that's been to me. I mean, first I can okay, maybe just say that's it's the word for type of Old Norse magic or witchcraft, depend of which word you want to use. And it has always been. I have always been so deeply called to it ever since, yeah, when I was 16 years old and starting to learn about Viking Age and Old Norse culture and all of this. It was like, but it was more like something, okay, yeah, that kind of called me. And then it's like, I kind of like let it a little bit on the side, didn't really know what to, what to do about it. And it's kind of like 2 years before I officially really started uh, Runahild project. That's when I really, really started to really dive in. Like I just couldn't anymore. I was like, okay, that's caused me so strong. I have to figure out what it is. Is it something that that I have something to do with? I mean, like I don't know. It's like I couldn't really resist it. It was
Mm-hmm.
like just stronger than me. And in the same time, it's been very difficult too because I feel like yeah, like talking also in the book, it's like it's a bit difficult when we don't have a living tradition of it because it's like it's we're talking about we don't have people who've been teaching it from generation to generation, and all we know is a few sources, and that's just simply nothing when you think of what the practice would have been, and the difference of practitioner as well. Every people will have probably done different things, because I mean that's just, it's normal. It's like even with astrology, if you think of this, like there are so many different ways of doing, of like systems and right? So it's like, I would think that, yeah, we only know from a few people, from a few sources, written from an outside perspective, not either from the actual practitioner perspective that I know of, at least. And I feel that for me, it was like, okay, how, but I was very confused about how do I connect with it? And I felt that since there was not, and I am not interested in like necessarily reproducing what was done either, because it's also about like, okay, their worldview was different too, and the way they were thinking and believing was different. And I think it would be strange to kind of like take something that stopped and pretend nothing happened in between, and then we're like, oh yeah, we're taking it back. And for me, it's not, it doesn't work. And I don't judge people, do what they want, but for me, so I wanted to find out, okay, what is my personal connection with this type of magic that calls me so strong, I just can't steer away from it. And it's a way, it's kind of like, it's just, there is always this kind of magic side of life that's, I don't know, that's woven in my life, I guess. It's like, I don't know, it's just a bit synchronicity, and it's, I feel that that's yeah. And so these experiences have been very important. So it's a lot of things that made that I started the Runahild project, but definitely this with the magic, the spiritual journeys, and this side opening, which was not like my previous project, like I was not so much on that level, and just towards the end. And I feel like, okay, now I just have to just follow that path here. And so there was both a personal healing journey together with a deeper connection with spirituality, and trying to figure it out from within. And all of this goes into music, like the songs, kind of many of the songs describe express, I guess, some of the journey, some of the energy I've been feeling, some of the wisdom, maybe I should say, that kind of like I kind of get, or insight, or and yeah, I feel like I'm still like, I feel like this journey, like it's also like, I also want to say that, well, I don't feel like I've come to a place where, oh yeah, now I know what Seid is or anything. It's like a first chapter of like, this is a journey so far, and let's see where this takes me from here, because it's like, and I think it's so important. I really want to make this so clear, that because like, yeah, this is really just a personal, this is my personal experience. It can inspire others on their own journey, or like give ideas, but yeah, it's not a guide. It's not that. It's not telling, I'm not giving like spells or whatever. It's like pretty much the opposite. So yeah, so it is definitely, it has been woven with my music, and it's interesting because it's so strange, because like right before I started this project, I was like, okay, I cannot associate with this the Velvet practitioner, yeah, because I felt like, well, I will never understand what it truly means, and since we don't have anybody guiding us, I feel like I'm just going in the blind and trying to. And there are some people who like have workshop and teach these things, but they are also like me, trying to figure it out based on a few sources and what guides from within. So it's like, I was like, okay. And eventually but it's like I could never steer away from it, regardless of that, like, oh, I will never do it right, or like, how do I know that I'm going to do this right? I don't know. It's like, what does it mean? And how can it be really used today? Like, because I don't necessarily like, you can interrupt me if you feel I'm going too far.
No,
So
no. I mean,
magic.
just one thing that I have just in my mind is, so if I'm understanding correctly, you've been you felt called to this kind of thing for a long time, but there was kind of an anxiety around doing it wrong or
Mm.
doing it
Yeah,
irresponsibly that was
yeah. Well,
holding you
and
back.
very much so. Yeah, I think, yeah, like you want to know that you are not do. I mean, it's like, okay, if I think of like Seid, or like using the word, it's not, I would, yeah, if I should compare with, for example, shamanism or
Hmm.
any kind of healing, and I'm thinking that it's not something that I can take lightly, because it's like, oh, I feel that I can't read, and that's also why I'm kind of struggling a little bit, and still, I guess. But it's like, if you go to a doctor, you kind of like, because that's basically what people go for example, with a shaman, is they want healing, right? If you go to a doctor is responsible to give you a right diagnosis.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it could really endanger you.
A
And
little
I
bit.
think that, well, yeah, like you could really turn bad, and I feel that, okay, it's gonna be a different, but it's still kind of like in my mind, it's like you kind of have to understand there is kind of a part of responsibility. And I'm like, it's always like, okay, what does, and I'm still, that's a part where I'm kind of trying to figure out what does it mean as in serving a community. How is it possible? How can it be serving a community, and how is it not damaging? Because it's like, I don't, because it can have been associated with like controlling, and I'm like, I don't think it should be about control, because my mind is it's very wrong, and maybe before it was what was happening. But I feel that, how do we do something that really use whatever we have to help our community or the world? Or, I mean, not something to sound like too big, but I mean, like,
Hmm.
and not making it worse, not taking advantage of people either, because it's like, I feel that in spiritual communities, it's just so easy for people to like grow big ego, and then it's like become gurus, and then people kind of like seek their help, and then it's like, instead of actually helping people, they are abusing their power to yeah, it's all status and bleh. Just so I think, I don't know, I think that's also a part of why I am questioning myself a lot, and why also giving reading this book is like, it's been, I don't, it's a bit crazy in one way. I'm like, wow, but okay. Like, I'm trying to make it so as possible, that it is, yeah, not, yeah, that it doesn't do anything bad, I guess. I don't know. I
I
don't know how
think
to word
like
that.
what I see
I
for
just
it, yeah, what I see it doing is, there's not a lot of people to talk to in everyday life about these things, right?
mm,
It as a matter of fact, if people feel called or feel this kind of magnetism to any of these things that are typically perceived as a little crazy, right? We
mm,
know that feeling of when we want to talk about these kind of irrational,
mm,
supernatural things. You got to be
mm,
careful who you talk about it with, right? Because you
mm,
talk about it with the wrong person, might get a reputation, and then all of a sudden,
mm,
um, so you know how that is, right? Is you when people feel the kinds of things you're feeling, it can ironically be a little alienating
mm,
because it's not a commonly felt thing, like being pulled towards spirituality in this way. I think is just the word I'm
mm,
looking for. Is spirituality
mm.
is
Yeah.
typically a thing where, especially if you're into like an alternative spirituality, which is that's the umbrella I would put this under. Um,
Mm.
not a lot of people to talk to, and you can feel very lonely, and maybe even you can start to feel a little bit like, wait, am I crazy? Like
Yeah,
maybe I am
basically.
out of my mind, right? So at
Yeah.
least to me, what I see this book doing is, first off, let me just say that two words: integrity and responsibility. Those are two words that at this point in this conversation I am very confidently applying to you, and it did, like,
Mm.
I'm very, I don't know, the way you were just talking about all of this really warmed my heart, like this feeling
Well,
of integrity at the
thank
base
you.
level, right? And
That's
responsibility. Yeah, it's just like I knew you were good people. It's what we would say in the states.
oh.
But on top of that, it's just like you say at the beginning, you make it as clear as possible, which also does not mean that it will it will work all the time, but that this is not a guide. You're not a
Mm,
historian. This is not an
mm,
academic thing. You're just
mm,
telling a story, a personal story about what this stuff has meant to you. And the
mm,
thing about writing that down, instead of just talking about it, is you've now, with writing, you also create a space, right? A book.
mm,
I'm just going to use an obvious example for me is the book Walden, right? That Henry
mm,
David Thoreau wrote, that became like the basis of this ideological movement called transcendentalism, where it's
mm,
now like one of the biggest. It's easily one of the biggest philosophical influences from the States. But it
mm,
wasn't until he wrote this book, really, and it's more complicated than this. If anyone is thinking of why I'm wrong right now, but the book has created a space people can go to when they
mm,
want to connect with it or feel understood, right? And essentially, Walden is the same thing. It's just chapter after chapter of just personal stories and experiences
mm,
interspersed with philosophy. Um, and so, this is a long-winded way of me saying that what I see for a book like this is not so much a guide or a definitive resource for it. Rather, it's something that people can go to if they want to feel understood. Especially
mm.
because for you, I would call you a role model in this community, right? I know that probably makes you uncomfortable. I know,
Yes.
but I've seen the lines, I've seen the crowds, I've seen the audiences, right? And so I will at least say it for you that you have not the role model, but a role
Mm,
model for people who do also feel drawn to these kinds of things.
mm,
And I would venture a guess that maybe you wish you had the same kind of role model
mm,
when you were starting out and feeling called to this. So I just see the
mm,
book as a way of creating a space for people to come to and read and then make their own ideas.
mm,
That's a part of building up new
mm.
traditions, right?
That's I'm really, really happy to hear that you how you are responding to.
Yeah, I mean that's what
Thank
I
you.
see because and I have to deal with this stuff all the time too as an academic,
Mm,
right? Like
mm,
I've got to pick and choose my conversations.
mm,
As I become more trained and more seasoned, I feel more confident. Talking about these more ridiculous air quotes for the podcast listeners,
mm,
things, right? That people will typically sort of like scoff at or turn their nose up
mm,
at. Um,
mm.
but talking about it, learning how to talk about it, and giving people the confidence to talk about it together is just so important. And there is no way
Mm,
to talk about it in an objective way because it's purely subjective, right?
mm,
You
right.
can't
Yeah.
say this is objectively
No.
how people feel. And with
Yeah.
spirituality, maybe that's what scares people about it, especially
Mm,
in this age where people are very objective, or at least we try to convince ourselves we are. I think that kind of subjectivity and uncertainty scares people, right? It's
yeah.
scary to talk about things that you can't measure, that you
Mm,
can't count, that you can't
exactly.
collect, right? So I don't know. I just think that that's what the book, that's what I see the book doing, is it's giving people a way to engage with
Mm,
this, to maybe not feel so alone, or maybe to even give other people ideas of their own.
mm. That was that's really nice. That's really, really nice to hear.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Of course. Yeah. So I mean, like, what was the inspiration for doing a book, right? Because you're a musician, right? Like that. I'm playing devil's advocate here. Like, what if you're a musician? You should be able to say everything that you have to say through the album, right? So what was it? What was it about?
Yeah.
What is it about the book? What outside of everything we've just talked about? How did the idea for a book come about? Was it feeling the need to maybe give other people a way to connect, or what?
Yeah, that's such a good question. You have no idea how much I've tried to ask. Okay, if the question is why do you write the book, what am I gonna answer? I'm like, I don't know. I have to
Stick
find
to your
answers here.
pretty notes. Why are you writing letters, right?
It's so, it's so. I feel like I don't have a complete answer. That's what's strange. I feel like I don't have a complete answer to. It was like I felt that, okay, when I started the music, all of the inspiration for the music, I tried to keep as much hidden as possible. I mean, like I
Mhm.
didn't dare. I was like, wow, I was like, I'm freaking lunatic or something. Oh yeah, and then I saw the runes in the sweat lodge, and no, I don't know. I was like, no way can I say the things. I'm like, I can't say the things. And I don't know, with the years I have like been part of so many like circles, workshop, and I realized that when we share our stories, and we just realize that actually we all kind of have access to that inner world, and each in our own way, right? But we all have our access to this energy, and I feel that I want to share. What I want to share this is to kind of just share that there is magic in the world. I think, you know what? I think that maybe it is where it is. It's like, it's just to see what's going on. I want to just bring a different perspective on what there is also, what what also is going on Earth. There is also beauty, there's also magic, there's also connection, synchronicity. It's just, do we see it? I mean, like, for me, if I just see an eagle flying by out of nowhere or something, I'm gonna kind of like, wow, feel this. I don't know, I'm always, oh, thank you for like showing yourself. I don't know, thank you. I can like say, and thank you for making me aware that of this connection, that we are here together. And I don't know. I mean, everything. I don't know, and I feel that I just want to. I want to be able to add a little bit of magic into a world that's otherwise, especially now, way too chaotic. So I feel that it's important to bring. And I also feel that if people are allowed to kind of like say, do things out there that I don't even want to mention here, then why shouldn't I share this? Because I think that this is not harming anybody. I'm not doing anything to harm anybody or to offend anybody. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I feel that, I don't know. I want to share that part, the the magic, basically.
That's really
Yeah.
profound. Like, I've never thought about it this way, and which is weird considering I'm in the States, right? I should be thinking about this kind of thing more often. But like, you're right. What I was talking about earlier is kind of like the feeling of the need to sort of censor or police ourselves when we are talking about these more alternative spirituality experiences that we have, because we don't want to be labeled in certain ways. We don't want a certain reputation, and but what you just said kind of turns that on its head. Like, why is it seemingly more acceptable to spread hate or like speak of unimaginable violence? Why do I feel the
Yeah.
need to censor myself talking about magic or beauty when everyone else seems to be able to say awful, abhorrent things? Why am I feeling the need to censor myself when what I'm saying isn't harming anyone, right? That's a beautiful perspective, and I'm going to think about that a little bit more. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm going to be chewing. I'm going to be chewing on that one for a bit.
Let's have a look. Pose there.
So you mentioned some passages from this book already in just passing. I was just curious, do you have a favorite section of the book, or maybe one, maybe if it's hard to choose a favorite, I mean, do you have one that you feel like you would want to highlight for people who don't have the book yet, maybe just as a sort of, I don't know, maybe any anecdotes from the book that are just at the front of your mind at this point?
Whoa, yeah.
Because I already have a favorite, but I'll save that for after you've said yours.
Yeah. Right now.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I'll go just in case you picked the same one. No. So the passage you're talking about, one of the first experiences you had at the museum in one of these workshops.
Oh, I was gonna say this one.
You were gonna say the same one. Okay. So
no, go ahead.
No, so I mean, like, it was funny to me. The one part that stuck with me is you said that you hadn't, up until this point, and I know you probably know Ruben Turlo. He's also probably going to be very into this, but like, you had not considered that a museum could be a spiritual space or have a spiritual experience at a museum. As a musicologist and a historian, that tickles me. I love hearing that because this is increasingly becoming a way that people are writing about museums, especially in these historical spaces with these neo-pagan communities, is that museums are becoming like kind of these spiritual sites. So that's why even you talking in this book that you say is not academic, is not historical, you're still talking about things that the dorks are talking about. So yeah, talk about, because you also talk about disappointment I find
Mm.
that this passage sort of encapsulates a lot of the sort of struggles and the journey that goes through it. Yeah. So do you want to say
Mm.
a little bit more about that section of the book? I guess.
Yeah, I think that that's maybe one of the early experiences that really, really marked me in a special way.
Hmm.
And yeah, I did. I mean, like I was kind of, oh, it was beginning of Seid, right? So I
Hmm.
didn't know where to go. And I'm like, oh yeah, there is gathering at the Oseberg Mount, and you can come if you want. And I was like, well, yeah. And then I was like, yeah, that's where vulva practitioner was like buried with maybe her servant, or that's at least what the theory is. And then I was like, wow, yeah, of course. I mean, like I'm on a journey, and I'm going to try to connect with the spirit of the dead, right? I mean, like it was like, oh, I don't know. I was kind of like, oh yeah, of course I want to go there, and I kind of like want to maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll journey, maybe I didn't really know what journey was either at that point. So it was a bit like I didn't really know what I was going for at all. I was just hoping I would get some kind of clue, some kind of a sign. I don't know, I mean, it's like, and then yeah, so we were on, I don't know, you could say nothing, but it's like, yeah, so we were on the mount in the evening, and it's like, and it was just so empty, and I was so empty. I felt so, I was there, and I was like, okay, I mean, like there is a strictly nothing, and I was like, wow, not even like a hint of a feeling. It was just so disappointing, and I was like, wow, that must not be my path at all. I'm completely wrong. I mean, it's like it's just, and then it's like, oh yeah, yeah, museum. And I don't actually even want to go. I want to go home. I'm like, what am I going to do there? I'm like, I don't know why I'm going there. Like, I don't know. It was like so. I didn't totally like get it, and then it's like it was there. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, it's very impressive and it's very nice, and it's like and read and all that. I mean, it's amazing, right? But it's like I was like still on the disappointment of that this can become so abstract to me. And
Hmm.
then and yeah, then it's like, oh yeah, we could we were allowed to sing, and we were like surprised we were actually allowed to be able to sing. So we were like a few of us, like we were five women, were going on the balcony, and we just like, okay, so I think that's some drums. We were just like singing, and then it's like that's when I felt, yeah, that's when I kind of like really felt the energy rising. Like I started to sing, and it's like suddenly I just felt it just took over. There's something that I never felt before. It was like I was like, wow, and then it's just, I don't know, the songs, the energy, the intensity I felt within me. It's like it's not possible to put into words, and it's not possible. And even writing, I don't think I can ever really describe. But I'm trying. I'm trying to. But I mean, it's like I don't know. I wish I had the kind of could make metaphor to kind of explain what it is, but it's like anyway, and it felt, yeah, the intensity. I'd never felt something like this before, and there was a part of me that kind of like, okay, yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel that the fact that, and I don't know, it's just kind of like it's just okay. Is it because of all the artifacts and the thing that actually our life energy, our life existence was kind of connected to, kind of like there is still some sort of energy lingering. I really don't see. I don't have the answer, right? I mean, I'm just, I don't know. I'm curious. But on the mound, it's like it's also interesting, and I feel absolutely nothing, and there is indeed nothing there. I mean, it's been excavated, right? So I mean, like, well, I mean,
That's a
like I
good
wouldn't
point.
say that I
That's a
have all
good
the
point.
facts, but but yeah. So, but that was not expected at all, and then it's like, and there is more to the story, but I'm not gonna say
Hmm.
really say
Hmm.
now because otherwise I'm gonna talk forever. But but yeah, I think that was one that really marked me, because for me it really felt like that spirit was channeled through me, because I did not feel that it wasn't me singing. It was completely like what, and I'm not talking about on a level that even on stage I'm not reaching that kind of level. Even in that kind, I can
Because
reach
you
some
got so
sort of
much to keep
trance.
track of. You got too much to keep
Yeah,
track of up on stage. You know what I mean?
I,
Like,
on top of it, yeah, of course. I would love to just be there all the time on stage, though.
well,
Just letting it completely take, but no, it's fine. But I mean, like, yes, it's a very special moment, and I feel that this was definitely just taking me deeper down
mhm.
that road, kind of like, or up, or
Yeah, no,
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, thank you for saying more about it, because yeah, that is definitely the passage that stuck out for me.
Mm.
And what you were just saying segued segues really well into really just the last thing that I had to talk with you about, and that is there's been a lot of conversation or interest, I guess is a better word for it, for people that are wanting to have similar experiences as what you just described to us, but
Mm,
this inner critic idea that keeps coming around, and you talk about it
mm,
quite a bit in your book,
mm,
um, is really holding a lot of people back from
mm,
the phrase I'm going to use is just freeing their artistic voice, right? Is over
mm,
time you hear so much criticism,
mm,
or especially just in the way that we consume music nowadays, we only ever hear the perfect end product. So when people don't sound like that when they're first starting, or when their
mm,
singing isn't perfect, they just immediately feel defeated. Just as a
mm,
little anecdote, at the Fire in the Mountains festival, Lindy Fay and Sandra Veland, they did a workshop,
mm,
just about this, like just
mm,
silencing that inner critic to just express yourself, right? And so many people, even by the end of the workshop, just still had so many questions about, like, well, how do you get comfortable singing? How do you get comfortable with this? Or how do
mm.
you learn? So all of this is just to say that there's a lot of interest that people have in really learning how to deal with that inner critic. And especially like following you over the last few years, I've seen a very solid trajectory of freeing that artistic voice, right? Of silencing, and I know it's a never-ending battle, but silencing that
Mm,
inner critic.
mm.
So I just want, like, do you have anything that you would want to say, or any advice or insight, guidance that you would give anyone uh, who is looking for ways to sort of silence? I mean, some level of inner critic is still good, right? But so maybe not silence, but at least tame the inner critic, maybe. In yeah, any advice you would have for people who are trying on that same journey that you're also on, and that I'm on,
Mm.
and that whole idea of how do you just let yourself create and express yourself?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think a little bit
Yeah,
about this.
please,
It's
please.
very because I've been struggling so much and I found this so difficult actually. And I feel that it's really takes for me it takes like I can only go from like, okay, how is it that I'm dealing with it? It's like so many years of working, and I feel that I wish I could give like an easy answer, or like, oh, if you just do that, or and I feel that it's a very deep work really, and that is more like that kind of constant life. Or maybe some people will find an easier way. Uh, I think it can help with if you are good at visualizing, it can help with some visualization.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, like, okay, we can all have our own I can't say this. Visualizations.
You can just say vision. Say vision. Just make it
Vision.
easy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Can I use that word?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
please.
right.
We'll know what you mean.
Vision. Okay, sure. Like, okay, so you can vision that. Like, for me, it's like I have different. It's different every time. I'm
Hmm.
not even constant in the kind of vision I'm
Yeah.
having, but it's like, and it can just be like to kind of see it like that. You kind of untangle yourself, or you're like unstitch, cut the threads one by one. Like you basically vision like an entity, and you're just like, well, that's not my thoughts, not mine. But of course, I don't know. I mean, like that's just one thing that it's one way of doing it, and that's one type of vision, and not everybody kind of do that. So it's many other ways of doing it, but kind of trying to, I mean, first of all, kind of acknowledging that it's not even your own thoughts, but kind of like whose voice do you actually hear? Like, I don't know, in my case, it can be like from parents, for example, the way, or at school, or it's all those voices that people kind of try to kind of retrace that back. Okay, when was the first time I heard that? So, or who make me feel this way, or who make me feel that this is not okay, that I sing bad, or that my voice is, and it's like trying to work with that. I guess that's the way I've been doing it. I had to kind of go back. Okay, is this my way of thinking? Is it my within me really, or who makes me feel this? Who made me feel this way, and why do I keep repeating this sentence in my head? And I don't know. I guess that figuring out can help. Or at least, yeah, I think it can help. Yeah, I don't really know if that's, for me it was important because then I can really realize that this was not, it was not even real, because it's also that these inner voices, or the way people have been criticizing us, it's also based from their perspective, based from their filters, and it's not reality either. It's just, it's like if a song teacher tells you, oh, you don't sing very well, or whatever, it is based from their perspective that they want you to sing this way. And it should just be dismissed because it doesn't make any sense. and I think, yeah. But yeah, how do you, I know it's, for me, it's been some, and I'm still working with it. Like, maybe I hope I don't make it sound like it's easy, because it really isn't, but maybe, again, for some people it is. But, and it's just to do it, really. I think it's also to do it, to pass it, to get past it. Like, yeah, I mean, I have my inner critic, even when I'm still doing it. It's like, but you have to, you're like, okay, right, you're here, you're telling me those things. Okay. Yeah, I hear. But I'm going to do it anyway. I mean, like, and that's all the time. And then when you're doing that and you get a different reaction from your surrounding, that's the place where you can integrate that you're actually safe. And I think that's also important, to find safe spaces to do those things. And like, I don't know, trusted people, or we need to create safe spaces for each other anyway, I think. like where releasing our voice is not something we're judging based on where are you singing well or whatever. No, you're based from emotions. What do you need to release? And then it's just safe space to release whatever song you have. And I think that if we can create this, and maybe like create with friends and try to kind of make those spaces, because that's also part of getting rid of it. It's to realize that this voice is no longer the voice you hear in the presence. And if you can have your friends and you're just expressing yourself, and then nobody is here judging you, then it's like, you see, nothing bad happened. It's also important to kind of give feedback. You see, nothing bad happened. Actually, I could do this and it went fine. And do it over and over and over and over and over again. And I think hopefully it goes away one day. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, what you said, I think is essentially how the other workshop I mentioned ended too. Is just it kind of ends in what we say a tautology, where it's just like, well, how do I do it? Well, you just do it, right? Like that's therapy, like in psychology terms, psychiatry terms, they call it exposure therapy. And I think that's essentially what it is. Like if you're getting a stress response, if you're getting a stress response from singing, I'm sorry to say, but you just gotta sing more. Like there's no way around it. There's no other way around it. Like it's not like
exactly. I think if I can just add one thing.
Yeah, please.
It's like I'm like struggling like so much with self-confidence with absolutely everything I'm doing in life.
It's a never-ending battle.
I know, but at the same time, it's like I'm realizing, the only way you're going to get self-confidence is to actually do the things, because you won't be self-confident and then suddenly do things. It won't happen. It's just, then you will do nothing. So if you want to gain it, you have to experience.
I mean, like, dude, so many people ask me, like, oh, how did you, and it's funny. I have to say, like, the purpose of me saying this is not to toot my own horn, but like a lot of people say, like, oh, how do you do podcasting? How do you do it so well? Like, I hate it. I don't know how to do it. And I'm sitting here like, I hated it. I hated it for a long time. I could not watch or listen to myself talk, or because we all know how it is. I'm just like, get it off. But but like, and that's the example, right? Like, I've been doing this for like 4 or 5 years now. It's just like it just like you with Seid, like something in me was just like, no, this is a thing that you need to do. And I'm like, but I hate it. And they're like, too bad, it's just a thing you do now. So now, I mean, like, and the only way that I got used to it is just by doing it, right? And it's especially funny when, like, when I had Alyssa on one of the videos that we did for that festival, at the beginning, she hated it. And she was just like, I don't know how you do this. Like, how... And that's what really made me realize, like, all right, this isn't just easy for people. Like, and I put myself back in my shoes in like 2020, 2019 when I started this. I'm like, oh, that's right. I really hated this. But And it is, yeah. Exposure therapy is really just the only.
Mm.
That's the best advice I think Runahild and I can agree on right now. Is just like if there's something you want to do but it scares you, sorry to say, but you just got to do it.
You can do it. There was a way
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. So I guess the best way I think to round out this is many when the first time that you came on this podcast many years ago, the conversation centered around music and healing, and I think that that's what a lot of people were drawn to you for. Just your perspectives that you had to say on that. So how do you think, if at all, that this journey with Seid, the album and the book, and also what we're talking about freeing your artistic voice, what does that, if anything, have to do with just how you view music as a way of healing?
Oh, it is, there's no, it's not separated. It's just, it's all one. I can't,
Mm-hmm.
that's why also in the books there is about Seid, there is also a lot about simply just my healing journey, because for me it goes together.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't separate none of this. And then again, the music is like, just had a friend tweet, and it's like, okay, for me, okay, the music is like healing in the way that when I am at the bottom, or I just don't see anything anymore, when I sing or I start composing or I go into, okay, I need to put this into I need to go into music, that's when life is being breathed back into me. It's like I'm finally like, I'm coming back. And I couldn't do it without music. It's like, it's basically music is doing this. And I'm like, and I think that that's where healing comes, but in the same time, it also goes into, it's like I can't disconnect from any of this. It all, I think that's why the album and the book comes together and all this, because it's not something that actually is one. No, it's like it's a whole, yeah, it's just, yeah.
It's all one thing. It's all one thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
If that's
I
it.
mean, yeah,
That's it.
Runahild, that's all I've got for you. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about with Side, or do you think that we covered some good ground here today?
I think, yeah, I'm very happy about where the conversation went.
Awesome, hell yeah. Well, if you're happy, then I'm happy. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Runahild, again, you're rivaling Chell at this point for most frequent appearances on the Nordic Sound. You might actually have him beat now. But and that's a good thing. But I guess, but before we go, let's say people want to learn more about you, people want to find you, people want to follow you. Where can they do so?
Okay, so I am on Instagram and Facebook, and the music is on all digital platform on Bandcamp, and then there is CDs and merch on the official web shop. So
Hmm. And
Runahild.com.
please support your artists by buying stuff from them. It's incredibly important.
Yes,
And then,
I
and yeah,
agree.
and of course, when is the music in the book coming up?
17th of October
Excellent. So yeah,
this year.
just probably 2 weeks
Yeah.
from when this album goes out. So or sorry, when this podcast episode goes up.
Yep. Yes, about two
Yeah.
weeks.
So Runahild, thank you again so much for coming on the Nordic Sound. It's always a pleasure to have you. Just hang out for a second after I stop the recording, but otherwise, see you next time. All right?
Yes. Thank you very much for having me again.
Of course.